All right, if being on the ground was enough, I'm sorry, but sub-Saharan Africa would already be rich by now, but it's not. That's because proximity does not equal accountability. All right, guys. So in this episode today, I want to break down one by one some of the most dangerous mistakes and assumptions that some of you have made, myself included, in picking a on the ground partner to do business with. Welcome to the Noemi and Co podcast. This is a diaspora playbook. Let's get started. Again, 2026, you guys, we need to be pragmatic. We want this year to be the year of diaspora African folks building in the continent pragmatically. I always say, if my fellow Indians can do it, if my fellow Lebanese can do it, heck, China and now the US is getting into Congo, everybody is building in this continent, but Black Africans. And tiny, frustrating daily problems like a broken truck. I'm in logistics. Like corrupted police officer. How did they navigate that? And missing documents. These are daily issues that they're gonna face on the ground that they need to know how to solve. And all right, so this is what I want to talk about today. And as always, I have my laptop out. The reason why is not because I don't know what I'm talking about, is because I have so much to say. If I don't look at my notes, I will go in tangent, bore some of you, and then go in different topics and not follow. So it's better that I take notes, and that way when I come on here, I'm giving you guys quality. You'll thank me later. Okay, first and foremost, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. We don't gatekeep around here. Make sure you share this with anyone else that's looking to build a business in the sub-Saharan African continent and wants to know how to navigate it. As well as, in case you don't know, I have a Substack newsletter, link in my bio. Literally, I'm so transparent. And you can even, when you look at my Substack profile, you can see the past content that I've published on Substack. And I'm so grateful to some of you that send me messages being like, this has helped me so much with my business in Africa. I'm so happy. And so make sure you do that. And I'm just putting it out there. I'm launching a book called The Diaspora Playbook. I am giving myself an accountability of 3 months to launch it. That's why I'm announcing it. Yes, a little bit of a shameless plug, but by saying it out loud, I'm now held accountable to deliver. So by the first week of May, if I still have not launched the book, I want you to get in the comments and shame me hard, because I can't be out here preaching to you guys and not delivering. That's just pathetic and embarrassing. All right. So let's get started. You guys, the underground partner myth, Lord have mercy. The amount of people in the diaspora that have been duped, lied to, taken advantage of by some weirdo on the ground who sends photos on WhatsApp claiming to be overseeing your investment, but in reality, it's a picture of God knows what, only to fly over to the continent and realize, oh no, my money has been going to waste. So today I want to really help you be wiser in how you pick this business partner and make sound decisions that are quantifiable. That way you hold people accountable and you're not wasting your money. Okay. So let's get started. All right. I actually think the biggest risk in doing business in the African continent is actually not even corruption, because that's, believe it or not, manageable. It's actually not even the market itself, very manageable. I actually think it's the person that you choose to trust with your money and vision of your business. I think that's the biggest issue. It's a trust system, especially in informal economies like most of sub-Saharan Africa, places like Congo. It's so informal that who you do business with has to be a trust system. And I really think that the perfect partner, I think, is a lie. There's no such thing. You're dealing with humans. But I think that your goal is to find someone that has a proven track record of executing in the past, rather than someone that's a good talker selling you pipe dreams. All right. So let's get started. I think the number one problem that I've seen, this one, okay, I'm trying not to laugh, it's kind of mean, but it cracks me up. This is what I call the ghosting after the transfer. Like, this is so typical and heartbreaking, but it cracks me up a little bit. This is so predictable. The initial calls are daily, hyping up the idea, opportunity, so excited. Only shortly after the ghosting appears, because you sent the money, all of a sudden the calls become fewer, the feedback becomes less than nothing, and eventually the person doesn't respond to your messages anymore. And I really think that we make the mistake of who we pick rather than picking this person based on their proven track record. Like, what have they done in the past? What businesses have they built? What product or project have they contributed to the finish line? And I think why the ghosting often happens is because we make the mistake as members of the diaspora to fund an idea, not a proven track record, if that makes any sense, right? Like you are funding some obscure vision rather than funding someone based on a vetted execution system. And I think that when you actually fund someone based on what they've executed in the past, what you're doing, you are putting pressure on them to perform. And I really think that the real cost here is it's not just losing money that happens, you guys. Like it's the shattered trust, it's the heartbreak, it's your blood becomes like through the roof, your blood is pumping through the roof, and over time you lose this risk appetite to do business on the continent because you've been screwed over by the wrong partner, when in reality you just chose the wrong person because you didn't vet properly, if that makes any sense, right? And so what is the solution to this? I think the best solution is to micro test. What do I mean by this? It's what you call the Litmus test. Start with $500, right? Like, don't go crazy of like giving away $10,000. All right. What I mean by that is you don't necessarily want to fund a business at first. You want to take that $500. You want to fund a very specific part of an idea. So if they're calling you because they need $10,000 for a container idea, no, I'm not going to pay the $10,000 for that. But what part of that can be about $500 in cost that I can invest in? And it becomes a very specific idea. Here's the $500. You need to secure a lease agreement with this store that will store the imported goods. You need to have 3 shops signed up by the 15th of next month, and I want photos, GPS location, contacts of their WhatsApp of the store owners that you close the deal. And these are people that are gonna sell the goods that you import. And what this will reveal is the diligence of that partner on the ground, because their ability to follow instructions and deliver on those instructions with tangible evidence will tell you everything that you need to know. And I really think we need a mind shift in terms of like the way we approach these things. What do I mean by that is you're not an investor yet with that $500. Like, don't lie to yourself. Like, $500, you're not an investor yet. But what you're using that $500 for is to help you with legitimacy, vetting, and what you become is a client that's purchasing a small service, trust towards that person. Once they prove themselves through that, you then add a little bigger sum to test the next part of the business idea. So I think that's the first solution to that problem. Problem number two, the inflated reality from the fake receipts and the weird ghosting process. What I mean by ghosting in this case, not ghosting as in person doesn't call you anymore, ghosting as in like phantom, like it's like the hidden costs, the hidden things that are not spoken about. I think that this inflated reality is just the biggest problem, you guys. Like, let me just walk you guys through a scenario that I had to write down because I literally saw it last week while I was driving around in Mombasa, in Kenya. The reports comes in, okay? So everything looks good on paper for my friend. But this is a friend of mine. She wants to get into the import business in Kenya. The reports looks good on paper. This potential partner of hers that's based in Mombasa, my girl is all the way in Minneapolis. The receipts, the worker photos, the stock level, the shelves, but something just felt off, okay? Like when she told me about this idea, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be in Diani. I don't mind passing by. I visit the warehouse that this person had claimed to be doing business with my friend for. You guys, it was not even a warehouse. It was a borrowed shed from a local villager that had no clue of this person. So this contact that my friend has invested in, I'm driving around Mombasa with this contact. They take me to a shed that little the villagers like, I don't know what this person is, who this person is, what is going on. The photos that this guy's been sending to my friend were of like his cousins. Like, you guys, like the stock images of the goods that were in this quote unquote warehouse were photos from like someone else's stock. Like, I was like, what is happening? This guy's been literally lying to my friend for like 6 months on end, and my girl has put over $20,000. Like, the root cause, personally, I think, is like we are investing in outputs. We're not investing in verified systems. What do I mean by that? You're rewarding this person, like in my friend's case, by the idea that, oh, send me a receipt, a photo. They'll send you a photo on WhatsApp. But you're not asking them about the process in place that they had to go through in order to verify, legitimize these images. And I think what it does in the context of scarcity, which is often rooted in poverty, right? People will perform theatrics, honestly, in order to just keep getting money. Let's be honest. I'm not accusing folks of necessarily being demonic and weird liars. Some maybe, but we need to be honest here. When people are in a very poor environment, they act out of scarcity and they will do anything and say anything to get money from you. And especially if you know that you're a member of the diaspora and in their mind, you're in America, you're in Europe, you're just flowing in cash. They don't know the 9 to 5 job that you're living in. They don't know that you have to shovel snow. They don't know the stress that you're going through paying credit card bills. That's not their thing. You're at least in an economy where you get the luxury of taking cheap debt like credit card in order to survive. They don't have that. So they're going to say anything and everything in order to get you to keep sending them money. But it's on you to put in place a system that vets what they're saying. And I think that the biggest danger with this is that we can get into these habits for months. Like my friend has been with this guy 6 months in, $20,000 in, and the capital is building nothing but a bunch of house of cards. Like it's not legitimacy. And I think that the solution to this, I really think, and I had to write this down, is a triangulation verification system. What do I mean by that? So in the case of my friend's example, what you want to do is create a 3-point web, like triangle system of verification. So for example, 50 bags of beans have to be taken from one supplier and delivered to different boutiques in an informal economy. And each bag is about $10 a bag, right? We're talking about beans a bag. So the triangulation verification would be point number one, the supplier. If I was you, get a contact WhatsApp number of a supplier. If this supplier is somewhere in Mombasa, somewhere in Tanzania, I don't care, get their WhatsApp number or even the local number. You can call them long distance, I don't care. Get that contact number, and when you call that contact number, that supplier, in order to not throw your partner under the bus, you have to be a bit more skilled. What you do is, hey, I just wanted to make sure that you got everything okay as part of our customer service, and just keep you posted on our next inventory of beans will be available soon. Do you need anything else? Let me know. That conversation in 2 seconds, that person's going to be like, oh, that's weird. I never got the first order. And now you know. The second part of that triangulation I wrote down is transport. What you could do is get the truck driver's WhatsApp number or local number. And what you do is just call them, hey, thanks for the delivery. What was the last count of the bag? We're just doing some inventory check. The third part of the triangulation is a storage. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest here. Have a separate paid contact at the warehouse. This contact could be like the security guard. You could tell your business partner, you know what, I'm okay taking charge of the security guard's pay. I'll either wire via X, via M-Pesa, or if you do like Wave money, Wave can do send money now, and like these kind of stuff like that. I'll pay them. And what you do smartly, you call this guard and you say, hey, how are you doing? How's everything? Is everything going okay? Why don't you just send me some stock photos? You do that regularly. You get the guard in the habit of sending you stock photos and you keep inventory. It's a little sad that you have to do this kind of stuff in order to keep tab on your business partner at the start. But I just think you have to before you build the full trust. All right. So, sorry, your girl has to drink water. All right. So, let's go to problem number 3 with the partner on the ground. You guys, this has to be talked about and needs to be studied. Like, I don't understand. You guys, I had to write this down. And again, I hate looking at my laptop as I'm recording this, but I have to because I have so many nuggets of points. You guys, if I have to hear one more time this sentence, he's well connected, and that's why you chose this partner. It is the worst reason to choose someone as a partner. First of all, what does well connected mean? You guys, I am Congolese, proud to be from Kinshasa, despite the hot mess of this country. But let me tell you something about me and my peeps, okay? We are good talkers. Being connected means what? That what, he had an uncle that was in politics 10 years ago and now he's irrelevant? First of all, do you even want to be linked to that? Like, what is the leverage here? of that. And I think that we need to stop with that. Like, we have a habit of entertaining these potential partners based on them being well connected. Oh yeah, he knows the minister, he knows this person. And I've noticed in our community, like, this is not just a Congo problem. It's throughout sub-Saharan Africa. How many of us are connected to Dangote? Like, I'm like, can we please be connected to multi-billion dollar business people, not just politicians? I digress. The point is, this seduction that these people can promise you, fellow members of the diaspora, being like, oh my God, he's connected to the minister. And you guys, it feels like a shortcut to cut through bureaucracy because sub Saharan Africa is known for being one environment where business and politics sleep together too often. But you guys, how many of these politicians stay in their term for like 5 years, 10 years? So I'm very confused here. These shortcuts often lead to a dead end. Like, it leads to a dead end, these relationships. And the flaw with that, again, political connections in sub-Saharan Africa are so volatile. Like, it's just so volatile. These ministers change all the time. And when they're in power, unless you have a lot of money and bags of cash to give them, what is the interest for them? Don't lie to yourself with your startup idea and then you're convincing yourself that this business partner is going to convince the minister they love your idea. No, like, like, I'm so sorry. I have to be a big sister here and just call you out on your BS and stupidity. I'm sorry. You're going to hate me and you're probably going to stop watching this video entirely. But it is dumb. It is emotions and it's just dumb. I'm so sorry. Let's just go with the result of what happens when we do that. The business becomes dependent on a political favor. When is that ever a good idea? Hello, like, people look at the oligarchy that was standing behind Trump on his inauguration day. Some of them are starting to turn back already on him. It's that volatile, even in first world countries. You guys, like, you need to be strategic here. By you aligning yourself with like well connected, you're trading long term scalability for short term success. When has that ever worked? The key players understand that you want to be in good standing with politics when you become big. When you're a small startup, why would you even be on the political radar? It's when you become big that you may not have a choice at that point. But don't lie to yourself. You're not there yet. You may need a license from a ministry, but that doesn't mean you need to know the minister. Like, those are two different things, right? So with that, now that I went on and kind of bashed and went hard on you there, I think the solution that I wrote here is a vetting system for grit and hustle, not just network and talk. Like, again, 2026, you guys, we need to be pragmatic. We want this year to be the year of diaspora African folks building in the continent pragmatically. I always say, if my fellow Indians can do it, if my fellow Lebanese can do it, heck, China, and now the US is getting into Congo, everybody is building in this continent but Black Africans. And ladies and gentlemen, we need to vet these business partners smartly and wiser. And I think a part of that is asking yourself the question of, walk me through the last time you failed at something and how did you fix it with no money and no powerful friends. Whenever you're vetting a potential business partner, ask them that question. And for any of you that have ever worked in a professional setting, that question may sound familiar because employers want to know your ability to problem solve under pressure. And I think with that, you want to look for scars, not suits. You guys, I actually think this is more common in Francophone Africa than Anglophone Africa. Anglophone Africa, they're stepping away from that. But Francophone Africa, one thing the French or the Belgians have given us is suits. Like, there's a weird expression in French, like la bif et la moine or something. I'm butchering it. It's something to the extent of like the way you dress makes you as a person. I'm so sorry. That's a poor man mentality. Like, you guys, like, that's a poor man mentality, right? Like, I'm not saying everybody needs to be the Silicon Valley bros, the tech bros that look like they don't shower, but to think that someone in a suit means that they're legitimate, you guys. Okay, so what you want in a ground partner is someone that solved thousands and hundreds of tiny, frustrating daily problems, like a broken truck. I'm in logistics, like corrupted police officer. How did they navigate that? And missing documents. These are daily issues that they're going to face on the ground that they need to know how to solve. And their network is of other people like them that are problem solvers, not some weird political contacts. people that are problem solvers, just like your business partner, and that's going to become his moat and his strong network. And I really think a test that you should do when you're testing if it's your business partner is give them a very mundane, frustrating task. Like, I want you to go get this document stamped by the ministry. What you want to see in that scenario is not him saying, "Oh yeah, my uncle works as a government, blah blah." I don't care about that. I don't care. Fine. If your uncle is so well connected in a high position, then give me that document signed within 24 hours. The person that's a problem solver is not going to do that. He knows which person to go in which sub ministry, $5 here, $10 there, meeting there, and get that document signed. Once he has that document, okay, I don't need these people anymore, and I actually don't even want them on my radar because I don't want to be haggled. Let me focus now on the core business, which is cash flow and making money in this business. That's what you want to test. You want to test the person that's greedy, that's when I say greedy, I'm not talking about greed as in GREED, gritty. So GRITTY. Like, you want grits. You want someone who has this relentless perseverance in solving a problem. And ladies and gentlemen, starting a business already has problems. Building a business in sub-Saharan Africa, the problems are 100 times harder. So if you're not someone who's a business partner on the ground who doesn't have that muscle, you will fail. And so I really think a true partner is someone that's able to solve daily puzzles, daily problems effectively. And this is really important. Those of you in the diaspora that want those underground partner, from the get-go being very clear what is their role as an underground partner, what is your contribution. And this is something that I even talked about later on, I know previously in my Substack newsletter, the link in my bio. I literally talked about this where a lot of members of the diaspora think that because they're bringing in the capital, that they're somewhat more important. I don't think so, actually. I think the having a quality underground partner to execute is invaluable. The amount of people that email me wanting me to be their partner because my madness of vlogging everything that I do here has paid off because I'm able to show people the legitimacy of my deliverables, and people want to partner with me like crazy. I mean, I've been offered some insane amount of money, but I've turned it down because I want to focus on scaling my businesses. But finding quality partners on the ground is so rare that I would argue that you may be bringing in capital, but I think the underground partner is adding way more value because they control the informal transaction. They control the relationship on the ground. They control so many nuances that you don't. And sadly, many members of the African diaspora, this is my little criticism, they don't want to come to sub-Saharan Africa. They want to stay in the West in their comfort. And so the person on the ground is carrying a lot of the emotional, physical, mental load and bringing in capital in terms of sales, right? So all this to say, the right partner isn't found. I don't think it is, to be brutally honest. I think it's someone that is proven themselves through small, reputable, intentional tests. And I really think that this process separates the diaspora whose capital builds an empire than those who just fund some weird sob stories, which is not what we're doing here. Like, I hope that's not what my channel is to you. Like, we want to be pragmatic builders and making things happen. And so that really requires you to be intentional. So, anyways, make sure to subscribe. And my diaspora playbook, actually, one of the chapters, I'll talk about this example and what I've learned and what I've seen other people do that has worked in terms of picking partners. And in the meantime, yeah, subscribe, share, and I hope to see you soon.